always dreamed about being a doctor, but didn't get much school. I can't stay here while all them go fight for me.
Don't you figure this war is just going to fit in with your ideas?
While everybody else is taking life, I'm gonna be saving it. And that's gonna be my way to serve.
This is a personal gift from the United States government designed to bring death to the enemy.
Well, I'm sorry, Sergeant. I can't touch a gun.
You don't kill.
No, sir.
You know, quite a bit of killing does occur in war.
Private Doss does not believe in violence. Do not look to him to save you on the battlefield.
I don't think this is a question of religion. I think this is cowardice.
I fell in love with you because you weren't like anyone else. They're saying you could go to prison.
But I don't know how I'm gonna live with myself if I don't stay true to what I believe. With the world so set on tearing itself apart, doesn't seem like such a bad thing to me to want to put a little bit of it back together.
Hello, welcome to What the Flick. I am Christy. That is Alonzo. That is Matt. These guys saw HACKSAW Ridge. I did not because it screened at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I cannot bring my child to Mel Gibson's latest blood-splattering spectacular.
That's probably a good idea.
I know. I'm a really good mom, so I make good choices. So, Alonzo, please describe to us HACKSAW Ridge.
Sure. Okay, so Andrew Garfield stars as Private Doss, who is a Seventh-day Adventist and does not want to touch a gun, but does want to do his patriotic duty and serve in World War II as a medic. But unfortunately, they put him in a rifle battalion. His pacifism does not play well there, and even though he is threatened with imprisonment, he refuses to back down. Ultimately, the army sends him into battle unarmed, and in one of the bloodiest conflicts in Japan, he not only survives, but rescues dozens and dozens of his fellow fallen soldiers and carries them to safety. It's pretty stirring. Take a look.
I'm gonna get you home.
There's something you gotta see.
Who did this?
That's the coward.
We have to go back up tomorrow. And they're not gonna go up there without you. Help me. You'll have to trust me.
You better come home to me.
Please, Lord, help me get one more. Help me get one more.
Mel does action.
Mel does action.
This is a pretty impressive movie.
The battle footage here, I'd say, it's sort of like you can imagine Mel Gibson watching Saving Private Ryan, being like, "All right, how do we one up that?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he does.
And he does. Yeah.
In a way that is totally germane to the story, or in a way that feels kind of like shocking and gratuitous?
No, I think it works. I think this does a good job of capturing the hell of what that was, so that when you see, look, spoiler alert, like if you know the story of Desmond Doss, this is a true story that the guy saved 75 people. And when you get, it takes a while to get there because you get him going through training and you get some of his backstory and how he grew up and what led him to be the man he is. But once, after the first day of battle and you see Doss going and saving people, you've gone through the horror and just the panic and the terror of what it's like. And so it makes the impact of what he's doing that much scarier because you're worried that at any moment he's going to get it himself.
Yeah, I think you have to have the battle stuff there for the stakes of it. What's weird about the film is that on the one hand, it is this celebration of pacifism and of the sort of religious fervor of someone who is insistent upon being a conscientious objector, even in the midst of war, even, when the sort of wartime kind of propaganda machine is at its full, bore. And then at the same time, the most exciting parts of the movie are the battle sequences,
Yay,
So
war.
Mel Gibson is kind of having his cake and eating it too. And I made the joke that he makes the only hard R-rated movies that evangelical Christians will line up to go see, because he gave us the super gory Passion of the Christ.
Right, and Apocalypto, which is really good.
But this movie, I think specifically kind of it addresses the narrative that so many Christian movies do, which is that he suffers because of his beliefs, and institutions try to stop him or knock him down because of his beliefs, but he perseveres. Even that is kind of presented weirdly because there's this whole trial where he's almost court-martialed, which then abruptly ends with, oh, no, wait, Congress said that conscientious objectors don't have to carry a gun. And it's well, gee, wouldn't everyone in that room have already known that? I wonder if that part even happened or if it was just a thing that they threw in the movie to kind of give it some more oomph. But the early sequences are they're kind of hokey. They're kind of he looked at a lot of Norman Rockwell paintings, and his dad is played by Hugo Weaving, who, great actor, but boy, his Virginia accent is nails on chalkboard bad.
That's really strange casting, because when I think of Hugo Weaving, I think of a menacing, frightening force, and not a loving dad.
Oh, well, no, he's not a loving dad. He's a drunk.
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
he's a bad dad.
Right. He's a veteran who lost most of his friends
in World War I. It's one of those movies where very few Americans are played by Americans. The parents are Hugo Weaving and Rachel Muriel's Wedding. Griffith.
Yeah. And Andrew Garfield's
and Andrew Garfield's British.
Right.
And we do get Vince Vaughn as the DI.
Right,
though.
the lieutenant or the
oh right, yeah, Sam Worthington. Yeah.
Australian.
Lots of Australian. Anyway, the battle sequences are extraordinary, and they are worth the price of admission. You should see the movie just to see those. But again, you're going to a movie about a pacifist to see the war stuff. So as long as you can wrap your head around that, it's worth seeing. It's a very well-made film.
And you guys could, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think I liked this more than you did. I didn't have a problem with the whole court-martial thing and the way that ends. I had less of an issue with that, and I thought they explained how that all worked relatively well. This is arguably the best faith-based movie that we've seen in the last 10 years. I mean, this is a really...
That's a low bar.
What was the other good one that we saw?
There have been some good ones, and Miracles from Heaven was pretty good, and But I'm just saying, there's yes, it's better than God's Not Dead too.
But production values alone, right?
This could have gone in a way. It's great to see somebody like Gibson, who is for all of the problems in his personal life in the last few years. Mm-hmm. He's a good director, and it's great to see somebody with actual talent in Hollywood take on a faith-based story because, you can make them work if you actually are somebody. This is the thing that we get blowback on as critics all the time, critics are too liberal, they don't like these faith-based movies. They also don't like them because they suck.
We like good movies.
Yeah, exactly. No, and if the more conservative churches hadn't drummed out all their artists, their movies would be better.
Right.
And my objection to the court-martial stuff isn't that it's faith-based. That's fine, and this is a true story. The mechanics of that scene felt artificial and constructed just to get us to that point of underlying.
Right, and what I'm saying is I had less of an issue with that. I think that this handles, we talk about it being faith-based. What I was impressed with is it doesn't overplay that. Is that Andrew Garfield plays Doss as a guy who's here's what he believes in, but he rarely goes to the Bible. He rarely... he's not proselytizing.
It's more a principles-based movie, if anything, I think.
And, this is what you kind of want, this is the thing that's missing in a lot of proselytizing. This is a guy who is living his faith.
Right.
And he's absolutely willing to take the consequences for it. And he exemplifies it. And so when you get to, I think it helps, when in a lesser movie, the fact that he's, praying to himself, telling himself, just give me one more, God. When he's trying to save those guys and he's just give me one more. The movie, that legitimate, everything that we've gone through up until then gets to where that doesn't come off cheesy. In the hands of a lesser director and a lesser script, that would have been really cheesy and really stupid.
No, you're right. But
when Doss is praying to himself saying, give me just one more, please, and he keeps saying that and he keeps getting one more, that's really powerful.
He even rescues some Japanese soldiers in the process, which is interesting.
So I wondered, are any of the Christian production companies behind this, like Walden Media or
I don't think so.
Like Mark Burnett's?
No, I don't think so. No,
it just happens to be
I think Gibson is on his own plane with this sort of stuff. He's not I don't think he's necessarily part of the
And he's Catholic. He's not
the
evangelical
Christian industrial complex.
Yeah,
Exactly,
he's
yeah.
Catholic.
But again, I think the people who didn't mind the R rating for The Passion of the Christ because they wanted to get other stuff out of it will get through the intense violence. Intense violence. Let's be clear here of the war sequences for the faith-based stuff.
Okay. Well, then what are your numbers, fellas?
I gave it a 6.5. I found it a little jarring that it was sort of kind of trying to serve two masters, but it is exquisitely made.
Okay.
Yeah, I give it an 8. This worked a lot better than I kind of expected it to, and it reminds me that Mel Gibson's a great director, and I think it handles this story with a certain amount of dignity. I was really impressed.
He's having a good year. If you missed Bloodfather, it's out on DVD. It's a lot of fun. That's a starring role for him, and I really enjoyed it.
All right, so their number is a 7.3, and it's higher than that on the tomato meter.
Yeah, it's 89% on the tomato meter right now.
Okay, well, I will play catch up with it based on your recommendations. Bye-bye.